Hello, welcome to Healing Instincts. My name is Vanessa and I am a spiritual counselor and healer. And for today, I'm going to talk a little bit about separation of people and our awareness about separation between us. So the message that's really coming to me is this awareness that if everybody believes that we are separated from one another, then it is really easy for us to place judgments on each other or other beings of nature. A very simple example of this would be the description of an insect or a bee compared to us. It's really easy for us to not see the similarities of the bee to a human, and therefore we see them as different from us. And that causes us to not really play much attention to their ecosystem or their environment, or if they're in our homes, we quickly remove them, we quickly attack them because we cannot see ourselves within them. We cannot see that we are connected or that we are one with them. And this separation is what allows us to say, hey, we're not the same. They're different from us. They're a threat to me. I can harm them. It's okay for me to do that because they're trying to harm me. We can kind of go back and forth and only recognize the differences. But if we can zoom out and have a wider perspective and see that, hey, I could be the bee one day in my future, or I may have been a bee in the past, or hey, this is a bee that has a soul, it's living, it's breathing alongside me. It's very important for our ecosystem that they thrive and they support my well-being because we are working together as one. When we are able to unravel that separation and see more of the similarities, it actually brings us closer together, and it gives us a different perspective of the bee or the insect that we are thinking about. And this is a very, very small metaphor example of a bigger issue and a bigger viewpoint from the human perspective on separation and survival of the fittest. The human being naturally wants to separate ourselves from each other. It's that survival instinct, the survival of the fittest. I'm not the same as you because, and we use all different reasonings, color, gender, your sexuality, all these your morals, what you believe, politics, everything, to say, well, I'm better than you because I think this. You don't necessarily have to have this wider belief, but I think that it comes to help make things more clearer when you have this understanding that this planet that we're on is not the only thing. It's not the only existence. It's an illusion. And when we can bring that into understanding about if we can separate ourselves from the physical, our soul from the physical, and we can kind of zoom out to see this wider perspective and purpose, then we can get into the nitty-gritty of what is motivating us to view things the way we do. And from that perspective, from this higher level soul perspective, why do we separate from each other? Well, it's easier for us to think of each other as one higher than the other, again, because of that physical survival of the fittest. But it's also wanting to not omit something closer, is that we are more the same than we are different. And we want our morals, each of our individual beliefs and morals and characteristics to be the ultimate right one. But in reality, there is no right one, because everything flows within each other and together and in oneness. So there is no separation of our down to our biggest ideologies about our countries. Well, we can fight about all these right and wrong ways to do something, but that at the end of the day, that's a simple ideology to move forward within our current timeline in our planet, to raise our vibration to a higher level of light. I may have a very different way of doing that than somebody else, but if we again zoom out to well, we're not just protecting a country, we're protecting a planet. So what does that look like? So it doesn't look like, when we're protecting a higher realm of something, focusing inward on these small nitty-gritty differences of each other. Because when we focus on these nitty-gritty differences of each other, we're kind of looking at a very, very small piece of a bigger problem. And it's like we're not going to fix or tell each other or argue with each other to get the right answer. We're not going to convince each other. So how do we use each of our individual ideologies to move towards a higher awareness and light to heal a bigger problem? Everything on the planet comes down to separation and one person trying to find a way and create a way to prove that they are better than the other. And really, in the ultimate fight, in the way that we can come in the most unison to heal our planet and come together more, is to see ourselves in each other and to see where you've been in that place before, or where you could be in that place in the future, and to start to recognize that our differences aren't really differences, they're similarities. And if we can start to put our energy towards where we can relate with one another, and where we can relate with our nature, the bees and the insects, and where we can relate with how people's perspectives come together, instead of focusing on where our differences are, we will start to realize that it's much easier to come together with people with the basic morals and values, and to start to not come together from a sense of hierarchy and power, we're better than you, but from a place of understanding. And that within itself is a higher awareness and brings in this light energy, which helps to heal the overall vibration of the planet. So I hope that brings a little bit of understanding today about separation. I would like to go into this in more detail, with more detailed examples coming up. But this is just a little glimpse into having a higher awareness, breaking out of the 3D systems that are created by mankind, and separating the 3D ideologies from 5D ideologies, which is a higher awareness, when you can start to think from a higher awareness as a human, as a soul being on this planet, you can start to see a higher purpose and hopefully start to see less negativity and difference within one another, and instead bring in this higher love energy. So please feel free to reach out with any questions you may have. I will place my email below. I am always happy to have these conversations, and if you have any questions or would like me to talk about something in more detail, please let me know. Thank you for listening, and I hope to speak to you all again very soon. Thank you, and love and light.